Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life.
And I'm QMGSaint. What's up, guys?
Yo, yo.
I'm never gonna get off of that, huh? You're gonna like mock me about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean.
So this is another question that was sent to you, or to us, by you watching the YouTube videos, which anybody can send me messages there, anything that's on your mind. And this is from Mr. On the Cheap, and he says, can't find another WoW. I started playing WoW in 2006. I had lost my job and was unemployed at the time. Also, I had stopped playing video games for a few years by this time. I was bored and I heard that WoW was addictive, so I checked it out. After a week, I was really into it, spending long hours and late nights on the computer grinding away. After playing for years, gosh, what happened during this period of time? After playing for years and all the changes, I can't seem to get that old feeling back when I first started playing. Chasing the dragon, so to speak, no pun intended. Sounds like chasing first girlfriend.
Yeah.
I have tried other MMORPGs, girlfriends, and the most I would ever get out of those is maybe a 2 week of interest. I just keep thinking girlfriend at the same time. It's kind of funny.
It actually works.
My question is this the typical MMO girlfriend gamer? And maybe will I have to wait for the next big thing to come out? The next big girlfriend to come out. Okay.
Okay.
So.
Interesting.
You know, I have to say for myself, Ultima Online was the first MMORPG I ever played.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It blew my mind. It was way beyond anything else I had ever played. And the biggest thing about it was that the other players made it part of the content.
Yeah. Okay.
And what was your first MMO experience?
My first serious MMO was Lineage 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then, but I was really young, so I played it, understood it a little bit, but after that I went into World of Warcraft. I was a little older, so I can, I raided and did all the stuff in vanilla World of Warcraft, vanilla WoW. So I understand where he's coming from, and it's kind of a. I want to touch on the first subject first. Is like, why can't he find something that fits his needs like old World of Warcraft could? And there's two reasons I think why. One is because the social aspect has been so automated now through World of Warcraft and any other MMO that they took a lot of that human interaction, even though it's online, out of it. I mean, you have looking for group systems, looking for raid systems.
You used to have to search and go to forums and talk to people on ICQ and all that kind of stuff, trying to arrange to get everybody together.
Yeah, and
hit the local tavern.
And one of the things that kept me playing World of Warcraft was because I started leveling. My friends were leveling. They would play more than me, so they'd be a higher level. So I want to catch up to them. I want to do content with them. That social aspect is what drove me to continue to play. And one of the reasons why I think once the LFG system, the whatever they did to take away the social aspect, they implemented that stuff. Understandable, because it's a business, they need to get more people playing together. Just took away that magic, in a sense.
Can another game have that magic?
I think so, but also, and now this goes to my second part of what I think why he feels this way, is because World of Warcraft was like the stars aligned when World of Warcraft came out. I think it came out at the perfect time.
It is an anomaly. Yeah,
because it came out right at that time where you had EverQuest, you had EverQuest 2, you had you had Ultima Online, you had all these MMOs, but none of them were really accessible to the general consumer. Like it wasn't vanilla World of Warcraft was hard, but it was still. It was an easy entry point, but it was hard to master. And I think it showed a lot to a lot of gamers that never really ever played MMOs. So they started to get used to it, and it started to become second nature to them. And it was still challenging enough for the people that came from EverQuest, Ultima, and all those people. It had that challenging aspect.
But I can tell you, WoW was no replacement for Ultima Online.
No, it wasn't. And I think that's also...
And that's exactly why it's this whole thing of the first time you experience massive multiplayer may be the best time.
Exactly.
And you can't replicate that. And I've not found, I mean, I played a lot of WoW, I enjoyed it, but it still was never as good as Ultima Online for me. And I've never found anything that matches Ultima Online.
And I think that's what
And there never will be anything like Ultima Online again.
Well, that's what I'm saying by like the stars aligned, is that because a lot of people, it was so accessible to the general populace that people ended up and driving by while we're talking, but that's okay. I bet you played WoW.
I don't know.
But people were giving it a chance because of how accessible it was. The entry fee wasn't a lot. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about just accessibility and how easy it was at the time. So that became their first MMO. And like you said, you're so partial to Ultima. It's like the girlfriend analogy you just used. Like Ultima popped your cherry. WoW popped a lot of people's cherries. So they're always gonna compare that to the next thing.
Right.
And I think that's what's happening here, is that you got your cherry pop and the other
and you can find other games that you're very happy with and everything.
But it's not gonna be that.
It won't have that one magic.
Exactly.
That you had in the first game.
Yeah.
And so, I found that more and more that I'm playing other games that have a lot of MMO elements, but they're different.
Yeah.
And so I floated out into more first-person shooter, and then I got even more. That's a cicada, by the way, we're hearing. They're one of the loudest insects in the world, and they're huge. If I could go catch one, you'd see it was like this big. Yeah. Yeah. They don't bite.
No,
they just look scary.
Me and insects don't scare.
Yeah. Okay. So, but let's see here. Where was I before that?
I hate insects, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to remember that. So I've gone kind of through these other types of games and stuff, and now I'm into like the survival games. There was zombie survival and stuff, and now I'm starting to float into other kinds of survival stuff. I'm getting tired of zombie, and So what is the next games coming out? Should this guy, should he branch out and try some other games that are not MMOs to maybe find that magic again?
It's funny because
Try midgets. Change things up.
Wow. Okay. But no, like I went through a similar thought process too when I was playing MMOs. Like I tried Guild Wars, I tried Rift, I tried all these other MMOs that came out after World of Warcraft. And nothing really, same thing he said, nothing really got me invested like WoW did. Like there was times that I played WoW that I would just wake up and that was the first thing I wanted to do because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But I think what's happening is when I met that stars aligned and whatever, and the timing was amazing, is that it found that niche of people that wanted to be part of this MMO world. And I think just as WoW has grown and aged, so has the player base.
Oh, absolutely.
And so the player base aging along with it, people change, and what we like changes. So unless there's something that's new that comes out that can pull us back in, like WoW did at a younger age, I don't think there's going to be anything that comes out.
Farmville.
I mean, Candy Crush is really amazing too. I was playing that last night on Facebook with Vicky. But I mean, yeah. So I think as an MMO, people are so many people are coming out with MMOs. Everybody wants to make an MMO. Like you probably have an idea of an MMO. I probably have an idea of an MMO. Great. But what's gonna make it lasting? What's the lasting impression it's gonna leave? And I think World of Warcraft pulled that off greatly. Ultima Online did that too.
They're both innovators.
EverQuest did that too. EverQuest was a great game, and
celebrating 20 years this month.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And now they're gonna come out with EverQuest next.
No, not 20 years. The 20th expansion.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And to think about it, what makes an MMO, or what considers an MMO failed or successful, you know? And I
Well,
think
it's whether or not it makes money.
well, this person here is basically, he thinks that any other MMO failed him. You know? So what is it that as gamers or as players want? And I think honestly that he doesn't know and I don't know, because like I said, we kind of compare to what we had in the past, and I think it's just a really it sucks. It does. It sucks as a gamer to do that.
Well, I think that you just need to branch out, try some new things, and so I don't see a WoW killer coming along. You know, there's all kinds of games. You know, WoW keeps dropping in numbers. You know, spikes back up every time they come out with a release, but overall it's in decline.
It's always done that.
And it, you know, so what is the next big game to come out to take care of that? I don't know. You know, there's been a lot of games that have come out and they've had millions of players and stuff. Nothing as big as WoW. Well, although, like World of Tanks, which is different, they consider it to be an MMO, but it's not an MMORPG.
Yeah.
World of Tanks holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most simultaneous people playing at once on one server. And I don't remember what the record was. It was like 90,000 people in Russia all playing, drinking vodka at the same time.
So let me ask you a question. Why? What was your standard and like why Ultima Online was the MMO for you and why WoW wasn't?
Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed WoW.
Yeah.
But Ultima Online was a lot more freeform, a lot more Wild West. And it had some other things, which it had ethics in it. It had, which WoW doesn't really have. You know, it had some other things in it that made it unique. It also had crafting and house ownership. You know, in WoW, I was playing WoW Friends and Family Alpha, or they just call it Friends and Family.
Yeah.
And so it was before the Alpha, and that was a year and a half before the game released. And I got to talk to them quite a bit about, you know, the different things that were coming up. And what was supposed to happen at launch was there's supposed to be player housing, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then they said that's going to come in the first expansion. We'll have it, and then it never happened and everything. And that was one of the things about Ultima Online, is that it formed community. So you placed your house down, and you could see your neighbor and everything, and you could shout at them from rooftops or whatnot and talk to each other, and you could go over there and, you know, put bombs on their front door and watch them come out and laugh at them.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. And it was a real sense of community. And when, you know, different events happened coming through your neighborhood, whatever, you'd see your neighbors coming out of their houses and getting into the fight.
And I think
it's community.
Yeah, and also I think that's a different type of genre, if you want to say that, you know.
It is different than WoW.
It is, because I feel like that's more in the sandbox realm.
Right.
You know?
They didn't know what to call it back then.
No, they didn't. And,
they didn't know what the hell they were doing back then. In fact, the success, they had said they would be successful if they had 10,000 players, and they had, I forget, whenever the game launched, they hit 100,000 within a couple of months, and they were like, holy shit.
and that's mainly why people get into MMOs, I think. They're fun as hell, yeah, but I think the social aspect is what drives them.
Yeah.
That community, that sense of community. And at the end of the day, I think my answer to that person is you haven't found the same social aspect that WoW has given you in the past. You know, and if maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But that's my opinion, is that that's what drove people to play WoW so much. And I think that's changed in general for all MMOs. I mean, every MMO I know on the market right now has some type of looking for group tool. You know, what happened to the days where I needed to shout in town for...
well, what happened to the days of having to be with your friends?
Exactly.
Get your friends together, people who you already know. Looking for group, I press a button, I join a group. I don't know these people. Yeah, maybe I'm making new friends, but it's not the same. It's not as personal.
I went back to World of Warcraft about... like, I tried it out when Mist of Pandaria came out. I didn't like it. I went back in March of this year to try it out again. I leveled from 1 to 90. And I tell you, from 1 to 80, there was zero social interaction because you just look for a group for a dungeon, queue up from different people from different servers. They don't say anything. They just start going through the dungeon. Like they don't even wait. You know, back in the day, ready check when you're raiding, and you know you talk to them. Oh, how are we gonna pull this boss? And it's been so dumbed down that literally I probably know zero people.
So if social is what you think the answer is, then let me give you a suggestion here. It's called Shroud of the Avatar, coming out here in a couple of months, made by Richard Garriott, who originally made Ultima Online. But the thing that you're talking about social, he's got something very new in there, which is that when you register your account, you're going to hook up your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Bebo, you know, all of these other social networks. You're going to link them all in, and then what's going to happen is that when you're going to go out adventuring and you're looking for a group, it's going to first take your social networks and try and pair you up with other people you already know. And so then you're talking with people. They might be a business, you know, relationship because through LinkedIn, or it might be family because that's where, you know, all your Facebook stuff, or Twitter. That's where people, you know, have been talking back and forth with you. Twitter is mostly a consumption thing, but you know,
it's interesting.
Yeah. So and he has actually stated that he would like to be the first 100 million player game. Yeah, I know that sounds really incredible, but the actual truth of it is how many people played Farmville. And this doesn't look anything like Farmville. This looks a lot more like WoW than it does look like Farmville.
It's also how easy is it to access Farmville?
It's very easy.
Yeah.
Most people have a Facebook account, and they just hop in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think there would be a little bit more barrier on that with Shroud of the Avatar, but that's going to be my best suggestion. And in a few months, you'll be able to get in on the alpha, which I think is in December. And then beta is in like March and release is in like July. So I think that's my suggestion.
Awesome.
So, okay, well, thank you for watching this episode. And if you have questions, send them to me on my YouTube channel. Just send me a message in YouTube. And we do look at them, we do read them. Not every one of them makes it into a video. In fact, most of them don't make it into a video. And some of them will make it into the mailbag. Did you see Leroy Jenkins over here in the last mailbag? Oh my God. So, you know, it might, we'll see. Maybe it'll make it into a serious video or one that's not so serious.
Yeah.
So, I'm Rocky Dragon. Take care.
See you guys, QMGSaint. Peace.
Rocky Dragon, man. I'm your biggest fan, man. Keep it up, man. Keep it up.